Hi, Carla. How are
Hey,
you?
Sarah. How are you?
I'm good. I've missed you since our track ended.
I know, me too. It was a long time.
Yeah.
Even
And
though it was like 8 days?
8 days. You've been in a monastery, disappeared.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good.
I'm glad. Yeah. Do you want to start off by talking a little bit about your experience so far or how you came to be in Nepal?
How? Okay. So, Nepal. I think it started a long time ago. Like, when I was a kid or a teenager, I don't remember now anymore. My dad used to buy a lot of Nat Geo magazines,
Oh.
and I enjoyed just going through them, seeing the pictures.
Are those like the old yellow ones?
Yeah, like the really old ones.
Yeah.
So I remember I saw this photo of the mountains, and I was like, "Where's this? Like Nepal?" So I was like, "Oh," I was like, "One day I'll go to this place like this, right?" So then, well, I grew up, and I like to travel. That's something that I really enjoy in life. So Nepal was always on the list, and somehow I don't know why. Actually, I like to travel, but I never went to Nepal. I chose other destinations before, and then finally it was in December 2019.
Okay, so pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I think already the virus was out there, but we
Right.
didn't know, right?
Right.
So then I was working, I was on mission, and I had some time in between. And
When you say you were on mission, is that for the UN? Or?
yeah, I was working for one of the UN agencies, and I was working in New York, but I wanted to go somewhere else, and I found like this short mission in Sudan. So then I had some leave days, and it happened that back in that time, I had a colleague in New York, Indian, and she was getting married in New Delhi. So I thought, oh, like, okay, maybe after the wedding I should take some days and go to Nepal. It's so close. And that's how I finally came to Nepal.
Okay.
It was just a week. I landed in Kathmandu, and I just walked to the domestic airport and got a flight to Pokhara.
So right away.
Yeah, right
left
away.
Kathmandu.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went to Pokhara.
Why Pokhara? Did you hear about it before?
Well, because I was a little bit stressed with work.
Okay.
And I thought like, let's stay 1 week somewhere where I can relax. And then I found like this spiritual retreat in Pokhara. In Sudan, I had a Nepali colleague, and I asked her, hey, do you know if Pokhara is nice? And she told me, oh, that's like a beautiful place. You're going to love it. So I was like, okay, I didn't think it twice. I booked. And then, those planes are small, the ones that the domestic, right? And as soon as I saw like we were about to land, it was so beautiful. I was just like, this is amazing. This is beautiful. I was like, I'm so glad I'm here. So it was short. It was just 1 week. I had this amazing view of the mountains, and I knew, when you leave a place and you don't have a lot of time to explore, I knew I had to come back.
Yeah, like you already knew you're coming back.
Yeah, I knew
just
it. I was like, I'm leaving, but I'm coming back. I don't know when, but I'm coming back. So then it was in 2020. I was planning to come to do some yoga meditation programs. And then I thought, well, let's add some trek, right? Like I like the mountains, so let's find out if I can do, I don't know, find a tour or something, an excursion. And that's when, well, the story is that back in that time, it was March 2021, because at that time I lost my job. and I had time and money. So that's why I thought like, okay, I'm going to follow my passion. And I was thinking, what are the things that I like? And one of the things I like, it's mushrooms. So I was always thinking like, oh, maybe I can study mycology courses.
Yeah.
And then I thought, I'm going to be in Nepal. Let's see if I find something related to mushrooms in Nepal. And that's how I eventually found a trek that I was meant to come here with a group of mycologists to explore the mushrooms of the region, the Himalayas. More specifically, it was Khumbu region. Mm-hmm. So straight away, I contacted them, like, I want to join, please.
It's funny. To me, it seems like such a niche area of interest.
Yeah.
But the fact that it just clicked.
Exactly.
And the first eco-tourism trek to
exactly.
Everest Base Camp.
I mean, I promise you, I was like Google. I typed like Nepal mushrooms, trekking, something like that, and then this trek popped out.
Wow.
And I thought like this is like a dream come true. So I contacted them, and well, that trek was meant to start in June 2020.
Right. Okay.
No, sorry, 2021. I think it was planned before I found it.
Okay, but pushed back.
Yeah, it was pushed back, and then finally. They were already discussing about like coming, logistics, because I was the last one in the group, right? It was a 20 member group, and they were like 19 already.
Okay.
And there was only one spot left. So I was very excited about this. But then I don't know which wave of COVID hit India, and that's when Nepal closed down. And
right.
We had to push back on again.
Another year. Yeah.
So that's how eventually 2022?
Right.
June 2022, that's how it all, like, I finally managed to come back.
Yeah.
And well, that's when we met, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry the trip was moved back so many times, but selfishly,
I'm glad it's nice because we met. Yeah.
Right.
But how about you? What's your story? How did you end up in Nepal?
Yeah. I mean, I think kind of similar in terms of background is that I'd always, seen pictures of Nepal or heard about Nepal. My family is really big into hiking, trekking, climbing.
Nice.
I think you can't really be into climbing and not, look at Nepal like, wow, like this is the place to be. This is the center of the mountain world, the climbing world. And then I was very lucky to be able to travel quite a bit when I was young. As a teenager, I had the opportunity to go to India and then to go to China, and I think that gave a greater desire to go to Nepal because it wasn't just about the mountains anymore. It was about traveling and meeting new people and engaging in a new culture, and like it's so much more than
of course
mountains. And I think people, maybe from like the US at least would look at Nepal and think, oh, it's Mount Everest, and it's so much more than that, and I have a question that I love to ask people, which is, if you could drop everything right now and get on a plane tomorrow, where would you go? What's the top of your list? Right now, at least, not that doesn't change or there isn't a long list of places you'd like to go. And for me, that answer, like top of the list, was Nepal. Like one day I'm going to go to Nepal. It's just a matter of time. And I actually took a course for my major in regional studies and international relations at Georgetown about Nepal and Afghanistan. It was about international reporting, and my professor specifically had experience reporting in Nepal and Afghanistan and Pakistan, and she told so many stories about Nepal and would zoom in a lot of Nepali journalists into our class to have really, really great conversations. And one of them was the publisher of Nepali Times, based here. And I had like a coffee chat with my professor afterward because I just loved her stories. I think she's just kind of this really out there personality, but I find people with those experiences really interesting, and with those wild stories, I wanted to hear more. And I was having coffee with her or something, like office hours, and I was like, oh, I'd love to go to Nepal one day. And she was like, okay, so go. Email the publisher of this newspaper. Why not? And I was like, really? And she said, why not? And so 2 days later, he replied, yes, of course, we'd love to have you. I sent my CV and some samples of my work in journalism. And the next thing I know, it was a yes. But there is still, this was probably in like September of 2021. And there is still so many logistics, right? Like, I'm a student. I don't have the money to go across the world and live in Nepal for 3 months. I don't have any connections, any language knowledge, any experience doing that. But I just knew, like, okay, I'm doing this. That's the goal, and I'll just have to figure out how to make it happen. So I applied for stipend after stipend and, grant after grant to try to get, funding. And actually in April, on my birthday, like months later, kind of had given up, thinking, oh, it's a crazy idea. It's never going to happen. Funding came through, and it was like, okay,
nice.
I'm going. That was that. So that was a wonderful experience. So I came to Kathmandu as a journalist or as a reporting intern because that's just what I love to do. And before the Everest Base Camp trek, I was just exploring Kathmandu Valley, writing about sustainability and architecture and green energy, and just enjoying, like, exploring life here. So many people come just for the mountains, and it was kind of nice just to see a different part of Nepal and to engage in different issues. And then I got the opportunity to join the mushroom trek, I think like 3 days before we were to leave, 3 or 4 days. We had heard about the trek and we were going to write an article, and someone said, oh, wouldn't it be so cool if one of us could go? And I'm usually quite like shy in a newsroom setting, and I was like, no, I want to go. Like, I have to be vocal about this because this is a once in a lifetime experience. And I rushed over to meet, Rick, the organizer of the trek, and he invited me to come along, and that was that. It was a couple of days of packing really quickly, and I don't know. I think at the time I was actually quite emotional, almost stressed about it, because I was like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I'm so overcome by this opportunity. Yeah. Like, I didn't sleep. I was so excited.
Of course.
I never thought it would happen. And suddenly both my dream of being in the mountains in Nepal and working as a journalist are coinciding.
Of course.
And so that's how I ended up to meet you, which was...
It was amazing.
A long-winded but amazing story. And I feel really lucky, and it feels really serendipitous that things just kept happening, little things. Nice. And maybe it started with just sending out an email to someone, but then, like, just accumulates into greater and greater opportunities. I don't know. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So happy because, as you said, we met.
Yes.
And, but it's funny because for you it was like so unexpected. For me, I was waiting, I had to wait for a year, so it was like, oh God! But every day that even like Rick was sending emails about you have to keep training, blah blah.
Right.
And then it was this year in January that he was sending these emails like. Only 100 days left, so it was like, oh God! So that's when you get more and more excited.
Wow!
So for me, it was like every day I was like, just so very happy that finally I was going to do this trip. So it's like I shared with you this feeling of excitement, right?
Almost like, for me, it was almost excitement to a negative extent. Like, I had so much just energy. I'm kind of glad I didn't have like 100 days of waiting, because I would have lost it. Like, just so excited to be here.
Yeah.
But it's funny, the very different experiences
of
getting on the trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are, I guess, some of your overall takeaways from the trek itself?
Well, it's like, as I said, I had a year to train, and I didn't do anything crazy about training. I mean, I'm not like that strong in sports, so to speak, but I like to walk a lot. So that all this year allowed me to get in shape, like I changed my diet. And I was very excited, of course, because I was excited, but also a little bit nervous, thinking like maybe I'm not that strong to be like to accomplish this trek.
Right.
So when we were there, actually, I'm usually, when I trek, I'm the last one at the group.
That surprises me.
Yeah, because it's like I know that. I like to walk, and going up, even though it's tough. I'm a very slow descender, for example. I'm very careful because I don't want to hurt my knees, and I'm a little bit like I don't know. I rather let people pass by, and it's like I like to be the last one. Also because I'm one of those that I'm not in any rush. I don't like to run. I just walk, and I like to see everything, the details, nature. Just like sometimes stop, breathe, this kind of thing. But this time I was surprised that I was just doing great.
Yeah.
I was like walking.
You were at the
you
top.
you were always the first one, and it's not that I was following you, because I was like, no, she's too quick. It's like I'm not following anyone. I don't want to have this like a pressure of I have to be with the team. But somehow I would. I would be behind you, and sometimes we could be talking together. So that was very pleasant, and I felt great. Like, oh, I'm not that bad, like I am in probably good shape. So
and I'm grateful for that, because of the conversations we got to have, just walking,
and then getting to know each other better, right? Because sometimes we had, it was not a big group. Right. But I didn't share much things with, like, let's say, people who were at the back, right? So with you, it was different, because we were like usually having this time to exchange. So it was amazing. And I really enjoyed it, having this, I think that we're friends, right? So now it's like, it's good, like having developed this friendship.
Yes.
So that's one thing that I was happy about, to see that, when I decided to do this trek, I decided to be more active. And actually I have seen being exercising, trekking, being in nature has changed a lot of things in my life,
Interesting.
And now I feel that it's like finally I found something I really like to do. So it's like, it's sort of, I want to go back to the mountains. It's like, now I know I need to be.
I know that feeling.
It's like, I want to see mountains. I want to walk in nature. I love it. And when you're here, it's like, wow, you just see all this beauty.
Yeah.
So it was one of these things that I'm always going to keep. It's this like, the experience also about meeting nice people, our Sherpa guides, who was like, I adore now.
Yes.
It's like all this sharing, and also, the mushrooms, of course. It was good. Then we tried to climb, right? We tried to climb Lobuche.
Yes.
And this was the first time I was doing something like this.
Yeah. So you really pushed yourself.
Yeah. For me, it was a challenge, doing new things. You know? So this climb was for me also like a way of showing myself that it's never too late. I can do things, like, even though it was a little bit scary when I was there. Not that I was scared, but it's like, it was tough. At certain bits, it was challenging to go up, especially if you had no idea before of how to do this.
It was hard.
It was hard. So then moments. I remember like being there. Something in me was saying like, yeah, of course it was not going to be easy. And now I'm stuck here. But then it was like, no, I really want to do this. And, I was even feeling proud, like I'm doing this and it feels great. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, this trip really changed a lot of things on how I think about myself.
Like your perspective, or self-reflection on your strength and your capacity.
Yeah. So that's something that I really value now, and I'm ready to keep doing this. But tell me about your experience. How do you feel with this trek and the climb?
Yeah, well, just listening to you talk about it, actually, like, I'm so proud of you, because you were always at the front. We were able to, you were rushing, and you killed it on Lobuche as well. So I didn't even realize that, like, you considered yourself a slower or someone who struggles.
I was like, I'm slow. Last one.
To me, like, I really enjoyed talking to you, because I saw such confidence and just self-assurance that, to me, like, I don't know, it's inspiring, and is just to look up to and hear about your travels and your career with just but talk about it with such peace and confidence, and not really concerned for the future. Like, that for me is a good experience. But yeah, I mean, I have a lot of personal highlights from the trek. I think there's always going to be such a sense of gratitude for me, because, like, I wasn't supposed to be there, right? Like, this was not supposed to happen to me. It was all these mushroom, experts and, citizen scientists with a vested interest in mushrooms. And then me just kind of thrown onto the trek. Like I was, going to meet Rick and looking up, what is this trek about? Like, why are they so interested in mushrooms? And that was kind of my experience the entire time, is trying to articulate that for the articles I was writing. But there was this professional opportunity of, wow, like I get to do this and it's my job, But then there was so much personal growth, I think, for me as well. Of first, when you're trekking, life becomes so simple, You wake up, you get ready, you go, you eat, you play some games, talk to people, you go to bed, and you do it again and again. And the things that you don't worry so much about, the wider world and, and what's going on. And
you get spoiled. No?
You get spoiled. But you get spoiled in like absence of things, and that's really special. So I always love that opportunity to. And I think you see people out there, being their full authentic selves when they're tired and they're smelly and they're not going to go connect to Wi-Fi and disappear, You see them kind of being real and having really meaningful conversations as you walk for 6 hours, you talk
a lot
to
of sharing. A
lot of sharing. And like one of my highlights is when Dusty and I were above Namche, and it was for your interview actually, but then just kind of had this spontaneous, really impactful conversation about, doing what you love and following your dreams, which feel cliche, but for me, it was this moment of like, oh, I'm with people who actually do that. They don't just talk about living their life or really following their dreams. That's
not
what they
just
do.
Some talk, right?
It's not some talk for these people. This is how they live. And this is how I'm living right now, is doing what I love, fully what I love every day. And so that was a wonderful experience. And I feel like I clicked with a lot of people and made a lot of really good friends on this trek, which was so great. And it was gorgeous. Every day was beautiful. Every day was a new adventure. And then doing Lobuche, I mean, you know the chaotic way in which I joined Lobuche, which was the day before.
Yeah, you decided to, which I'm glad, because I was the only one doing that. And then when you joined, I was like, yes, I'm a company.
Yes, but so last minute. And I'd heard about Lobuche from the beginning and was like, oh, no, that's not for me. Like, I'm not, I could never do that. I'm too scared, That's like, I used to be terrified of heights. I used to be a very fearful person. And I think in some ways still am. But, even on the trek, like in the Jeep ride, like I got scared at points, or on a landslide, I got scared, or I knew we were going to be going over these suspension bridges, and I was so worried that I would be paralyzed with fear, And so for me to get on the Lobuche climb, like without thinking about it, like day before you were leaving to go all the way to Gorakshep and, kind of get ahead of everyone, it was this like, okay, I've got 5 minutes to decide, am I really going to do this? And it was running out the door after you guys to go rent gear, being like, am I really doing this? And I knew in the days we'd been hiking a lot together, at the front, and I felt really strong, and like we were moving quickly through the mountains, and it wasn't easy per se, but I felt like it was relatively easy for me, just the hiking part. And I was like, I'm going to regret not going. Exactly. I'm going to kick myself. Like, I'm here. When am I ever going to be here again? To do a 6,000 meter peak in the Himalayas, like, I'm never going to be here again. I mean, maybe I will, but there's no guarantees of, and that costs a lot of money to come back here. And there was still a lot of fear for me to sign up for it because, it's a really big deal for my family. My uncle died in the mountains when he was about my age. And so for my family, there's a lot of, I think, emotional weight or additional concern and, mental baggage that I wouldn't exist otherwise. But for me, it was this, like, okay, I can choose to be, paralyzed by that and paralyzed by fear and like live my life based on the fears of people who I love but are halfway across the world, or I could live my life and take this opportunity. And I think the trek was meaningful for me because at every juncture I felt like I was pushing myself to like another level. Like, okay, it was getting on the trek and then Jeep ride and then starting to actually hike and then the suspension bridges and then going up to the acclimatization hike over 5,000 meters above Dingboche, and then it was, okay, let's do this. Let's level it up again. Let's go for it. And it was hard. It was a challenging day.
We had a long days, right?
I've never been that
walking a lot.
Yeah, I've never been that physically exhausted.
Yeah.
But
it was great. But I mean, I agree with you, and also, you know, like people sometimes get scared about things, and I'm glad that we managed to like break these you know, obstacles that sometimes that you impose your own limitations.
Exactly.
And sometimes people don't get like they are just stuck there, like no, I'm not able to do this.
Yeah.
I mean, I was not thinking much, to be honest.
I know.
I was like, just when I knew about the climb, I thought like, well, I mean, I would love to be one of those guys like climbing.
Yeah.
But I know I have never done it in my life, right?
Yeah.
And then Rick told me like, well, you know, it's always a first time. And
exactly.
Then he also told me like, listen, it's like, you're going to have one of the best Sherpa guides, right?
Exactly.
They're going to train you. And this is a unique opportunity. So that's when I thought like, yes, let's do it. And then,
why not?
Yeah. And then I was not trying to think much, because, you know, your mind sometimes plays some tricks, and I didn't want to think much about it. But yeah, of course, when I was there and I thought like, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
But then, you know, like Pooh, our guide, he was just so nice, like encouraging me. And even myself, I remember I was like thinking like, am I gonna make it or not? And then I would see you and Dusty going up, and I was like, oh, these guys are so quick, and I'm still here, and I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And I was like, Pooh, am I gonna make it or not? And he's like, yeah, sure, it's easy. So I was like, okay. I remember a certain point I told him like, okay, let me breathe, and then I was just breathing, like, okay, let's go, like let me. Yeah, let's do it. I was like, this you have also to, you know, like talk to yourself and say, I can do it, right?
There was so much like mental self-motivation. Yeah. And I think like actually on the way up at one point, I got nervous by like the exposure at one point, and you looked at me like, are you scared? Like surprised actually. And then was like really reassuring to me of like, you don't need to be scared, you know, like I don't know, but it like gave me a lot of confidence, and I think there was a lot of like self.
I remember I saw you, and I was like, what? You're like, Sarah, come on, you're the best. Like, just do it. I know you can do it.
And your confidence in me like helped a lot, and there was a lot of like really nice. You know, talking to yourself, but also Dusty said something about how there were times on that, specifically the climb, where we were all so tired. Like we had no break. We'd been like walking every single day. Walked 2 days in one to get up to base camp. Yeah. And then we're doing this climb, and Dusty mentioned like that day, like we all needed at some point some like from each other, some encouragement of, hey,
that was
you're
great.
doing good, you know, or like little things, because we were too tired to talk. Yeah. But like, hey, you got this. You're okay. You're fine. Yeah. We're gonna get down.
Yeah, it was amazing. I'm so glad that you guys joined me, because it was more special.
I think the four of us too, you know, plus Nima, and you know, it was a good environment. Like I think we had each other's back a lot. We're supporting each other. Like I couldn't have done that without you and Dusty.
Of course. And of course.
And
then we also shared a lot during that trek, so that was also nice to do the climb together.
Oh yeah, you get so close to people. Yeah. So close.
Yeah.
Like there are just no barriers when you're, you know. Yeah. You're like.
But may I ask you, would you? Now I know that you really enjoyed the experience, right? Mm-hmm. Would you consider climbing again Lobuche, for example, or like any other mountain?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think that for me it was a big breakthrough of I can do this. You know, like I don't have to look at the mountains and say, oh, that's so cool. You know, I've read so many books about, you know, mountaineering and mountain climbing, and like, oh, I wish I could do that, but that could never be me. I'm not brave enough. I'm not strong enough. Yeah.
So same with me, like, oh, I'm not that strong. Like these guys look so like
so strong and so mentally strong. Yeah. And I think, you know, we didn't get all the way to the top. We got close, but we, you know, it was
we were tired.
We were exhausted, and we did a good job. But I think it was actually for me more of like a breakthrough of I can do this, you know, with the right people. Like alone, no, but I could do this. And actually the day afterwards, like Fu said something to me about, hey, you did that with like no experience, and you're really strong. Like you could do this. And that definitely like left a spark in my mind of when am I gonna be back?
Exactly.
Soon.
Yeah.
There'll be a next time.
I hear you. You know, like well, as you know, I'm extending my stay here.
Yeah.
And when I was in Kopan, during my meditation program.
You did a week-long meditation program.
Yeah, it was in
after
Kopan, and it was like a 7-day program.
Yeah.
I stayed 8 days.
Yeah.
I joined earlier just to relax because I was tired after the that trek. I wanted to sleep, and of course I had a lot of time to. Well, I learned a lot about Buddhism, and I went there because I wanted to go deeper into meditation techniques.
Yeah.
So then a lot of things have been happening, right? As we mentioned, the trek itself, like there have been some shifts in myself, like, and then when I left the monastery, well, I don't have like a real plan of what I'm gonna do next.
Yeah.
But I just had this feeling of, you know what? If I'm gonna be here longer, let's try to climb again, like because you never know what's gonna happen in life. Right, I'm already here in Nepal. I have time.
Yeah.
At certain point, I have to get a new job. I have to sit down and look for jobs.
Yeah.
Which is it's quite demanding, and sometimes you can get a little frustrated when you're looking for jobs. Right. So my idea was going to Pokhara and stay there for a while and meditate to apply what I learned in Kopan, and then. I was thinking, but maybe I should keep training and see if I can get stronger again to climb. So that's what I'm thinking, that if there's a chance to climb again, I may do it during these the coming months. But let's see how I feel. But that's why I thought okay, if I'm going to Pokhara, maybe I should do another a trek.
Yeah.
And that's when I contacted you, Sarah, hey, what about joining me and go on trek again?
Round
Pokhara?
2.
Yeah.
Annapurna Base Camp.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So that's why I was so excited. And when you told me, well, of course you're working and you don't have a lot of days.
Right.
And my time is more flexible. But when you told me, yes, let's do it. And the fact that we're going next week again to spend some time together and go back to the mountains, I'm so happy. That this is happening. I'm very excited.
Me too. And I think I am such a planner. I have to plan everything. I have to have okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Or even with my life, it's okay, I'll do this job and then. But one reason I very much enjoyed talking with you is that's not how you that's not your mentality. And it's refreshing. Not that you don't have, goals and a plan of some kind, but you don't worry so much about you're present in the moment. You don't worry so much about tomorrow because you're here today. And so the fact that we're doing another trek and just going because
we want to go back, but it's it takes time to get to that state of it's not that I don't care much, but I'm trying not to get worried.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you found me this state of mind and that I can share this with you, right? Because that's something that, as I told you, I have been going through a lot of changes. Mm-hmm. And when I meet people, I want to tell them this, to share this that has happened to me. Exactly that, don't stress a lot about planning or getting worried about what's next. It's just enjoy the moment. It's this, I'm pretty after all these months and things that have happened to me in life, I'm convinced that this is the way you should live. Not that you don't care, not that you don't have any ambitions or goals. I mean, you may have the idea, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't need to plan but sometimes you plan and you get frustrated because things are not working the way you want it to happen, right? And that's when frustrations come and people get unhappy. And I think that we should stop living like that. Just as I said, enjoy the moment and, have some dreams. Why not, right? But then slowly go towards there. Don't get stressed. It's about the trip, not the destination, right? It's you enjoy that trip as well.
Right. Because once you get there, you're going to have a new goal and ambition.
Exactly.
Anyways,
And maybe
you know?
things won't happen, and it doesn't matter because then there was no plan to follow anyway. So it's like, it's like you don't get frustrated. That's the point. It's like
you're free.
You're free. That's the sense of freedom. And I believe that sometimes people get scared by the fact that they don't have plans, or maybe too much freedom is scary because you're clueless. Like right now, I'm clueless of what's next. Right?
Yeah.
I know that I'm planning now to go to Pokhara and do this trek.
But then after that,
then I don't know. And maybe something will come along and things are gonna change, but it doesn't matter because it's like you're just flowing with life.
And I think that's a really refreshing and positive way to think. I know that's just meeting you has helped me think more like that. Still have
so happy.
Long-term goals and ambitions, but appreciate the serendipity of it a little bit more. And the fact that my entire experience in Nepal has been, this dream that just kind of came about, not by sheer active force or will, but just by, I don't know, it just happened, and appreciating that and being grateful for that, as opposed to being like, okay, stressing about what's next.
Sure. Yeah. The point is, like, as I told you, don't get stressed. You're in this stage of life that there are a lot of opportunities are gonna come, so don't get stressed. I know that I remember when I was your age. It's kind of scary, like, oh, it's like graduation, what I want to do next, but it's like, don't worry, things are gonna come. Just keep that in mind.
Well, thank you, Carla. I'm so glad I got to meet you and have this experience, this shared experience with you.
Same
so grateful for the conversations we've had and excited for
to sharing more.
Yes.
Coming soon. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks.
Bye.
Anything you guys want to add?
I got mosquito.
Where's my whiskey?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the whiskey and popcorn. Or I was so nice to how we were how we were welcomed back. Or that's another highlight, passing everybody as we were leaving, as we were coming back down from base camp, or the base camp experience.
I understood that it was Gloria who paid for our hot showers.
Yeah.
But actually, Juliana told me, no, I asked, everyone contributed.
I can't.
Everyone contributed to that.
Yeah.
Juliana was like, hey, these guys are coming, let's get a hot shower for them. So everyone contributed.
I had no idea.
I have to send an email to thank everyone about that.
I would love
because
to
they were
be
also
a part
asking.
of that.
Yeah, they were also asking hey, let us know how it goes after the Copan experience. So I'm gonna send an email to everyone.
That was such a special part of the trek, was the people. I mean, I'm really glad that from Gorakshep, the four of us, you, me, Fu, Dusty, woke up early, went to base camp, and had beautiful, beautiful, quiet morning, rainbow behind Everest sort of thing. But then also our reception of passing the group on the way down as we headed to Lobuche, or seeing them after a 16-hour day, and just feeling so loved and celebrated. And even though I felt really shy and kind of exhausted, that was really special. People really came around us and also gave that mental strength.
Exactly. So that's when you realize, oh yes, we did it.
We did it.
And then they were so happy for us, oh yeah.
We were the climbers.
It was really something special. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. As I said, I like to travel a lot. And of course, there's a lot of information out there, and it's very it's a very popular destination because it's people come here for Mount Everest, right?
Right.
People with this and I have a friend. When I was since last year, I have been telling everyone I'm going to Nepal. And this friend also likes to travel, and she was like, "What? But why Nepal? It's so popular. Why don't you go anywhere else? There are a lot of mountains out there, right?" But when I was here in 2019 and I knew that I was coming back, it's just this country has something special about it. So to people who are interested in coming, it's maybe there are out there people who think they're not capable of climbing, or I don't have the strength. But I know you don't have to follow the popular things that people do. This country has so much.
So much.
So there are a lot of things you can do, and I'm pretty sure that if you Google, you're gonna find like the main destinations of. Well, you can climb, you can trek, you can go on a safari right. A lot of people now I know like come here for also to study Buddhism, like people who are already know something, but some people that really don't know anything about Buddhism, they also come to explore these things. But as an advice, it's like try to forget that it's such a popular destination, because sometimes people may think like, oh, it's so popular that it's so crowded. Like high season, I have been told that it's like really crowded, right? So one of my suggestions is like, don't do what everyone else is doing. Like sometimes I usually travel off season because it's cheaper. And this time, we were trekking during the worst season. Monsoon.
But it was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was so beautiful.
Right? So I would like suggest people to think about it like twice, because I even met people at the monastery, and they were like thinking, oh, well, I would really like to do this trek, but it's monsoon. So I was like, hey, I think it's the best time to do it.
Yeah,
we are here, right?
People have got to get over the whole like off-season monsoon thing. Like it's gorgeous all time of year.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there were days that we were disappointed we didn't have the mountain view.
It was
but some others like they were like just like a very nice day. We had these amazing views. We took lots of photos. So I mean, I would recommend people to see beyond the high season, right? The popular season, which is pretty much for climbers and trekkers, right? So there are a lot of things to do in Nepal, like and especially discover these people in Nepal that I have met. They are like genuinely kind-hearted. So there are a lot of
so hospitable.
Exactly. So it's a lot of things you can do, like. That you can discover, and also so for people who get discouraged, like it's like I'm long treks, I'm not made for that. I mean, there are other options to do, like shorter circuits, or just like go around, discover more.
My advice would be, no matter what you're going to do something new outside your comfort zone. Do something new, challenge yourself to something that, and maybe that's just coming to Nepal in the first place. I got here and I didn't know anything, and now it feels like a second home, so do something new and you might surprise yourself just like we surprised ourselves. And also, like, the second thing is that Nepal is so known for the mountains, but I hope people know more about Nepal and come to Nepal to see its, to see its temples and its history, and appreciate just the history of Buddhism and Hinduism here. And, like just in Kathmandu Valley, there is UNESCO World Heritage Sites what feels around every corner. There's a temple or museum or like a Darbar Square around every corner, and they're beautiful. And I'm surprised actually that there's not more visitors who come specifically for that really, really rich culture that might be overlooked, because it's Nepal, it's the home of Everest, but it's the home to so much more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.